Welcome, nerds. With the release of the seventh installment of the most consistently good franchise of all time, Scream, I thought I'd give my completely objective ranking of the entire franchise, and then some thoughts and predictions about the next movie. And don't worry, you can trust my opinion on this because despite that I've only watched the movies like since 2 years ago, I do have knowledge about it because I watched the Dead Meat kill counts.
Yeah!
And look, I got a ghost face mask and I got a Scream game thing, so that means
Okay, we understand you're being a little extra.
Sorry. With that being said, these glasses are so filthy. Much better. With that being said, let's get into my ranking. Easily at the bottom goes Scream 3. I think it has the worst mystery in the fact that it retcons the original. Even though they're meta about it, they're meta about the fact that it doesn't make sense. It doesn't really change the fact that it doesn't really make sense. Not that I think the movie's bad, I just don't think it's the best. And since I don't really think there's really a terrible Scream movie, I'd say that the only reason this is going in is because it's by default the worst. I do think it's really fun though. There's a lot of really good jokes in it.
Karen Kolchak.
Yes, Karen Kolchak.
Creepy Karen?
Shut up.
Believe it or not, this is actually where the list gets kind of hard because I had a really hard time figuring out which ones I was going to put there, and honestly, ranking it was pretty tricky. I constantly kept changing the order, but I managed to come up with an idea, and the fifth worst, the fifth best, fifth worst, whatever, is Scream 6. I think the biggest problem with this movie is the fact that nobody dies, as well as the fact that the mystery isn't that good. You're pretty much able to figure out who it is because there's a very small list of suspects. Though I would say that the emotional center is the best. I've been the most invested in the newer ones than I was the other ones. I think Melissa Barrera and Jenna Ortega as Sam and Tara, I think, are the best protagonists. I think they have a really nice sisterly connection, and the way their emotions are affected in the franchise, I think is done really well. And no other reason. I still think there's better ones than this movie, so it goes in number 5. Here comes the controversy because the fourth best / worst is Scream 2. While yes, I do like it, I think there are a few problems. For example, I think the opening is probably, while not terrible, there's a lot that just doesn't make sense about it. Ironically, I'd say Scream 6 has a better opening despite the fact that I think it's technically below it. Quite simply, I just think that the suspect list is kind of obvious. I mean, all of the main characters can't be it because they're not going to have a reoccurring character be a villain. So the suspect list is a bit narrowed down, and I do think that because the actual killer who is the killer in the movie literally disappears about an hour before they're revealed. So it's not the best mystery, though I do still enjoy it, and there's better ones than this. I'm sorry, I just think there's better ones. And I think this movie had the second most impactful death in the entire franchise. Rest in peace. Anyway, the third best is Scream 4. I think this, again, had a good mystery because the way they introduce new characters creates a new suspect list to where you're kind of unsure of who the killer is going to be. And the fact that they kind of play around with the trope of the replacement characters is really interesting, and the way they do a meta commentary on how it works, and almost as if they're trying to say, hey, I want to replace the new characters, and these characters want to replace the new ones. Not to give in too much spoilers, but you know what I'm talking about if you've seen them. And if you haven't seen them, why are you even watching this in the first place? You don't have an opinion, go watch another video. I think this also has a better continuity than other ones because they actually show some character development even if it's undone later. Come on, stupid thing. My script. Fell asleep. My desktop fell asleep. My brain not working. Brain not work good now. Okay. So, this one, despite being in number 2, is actually my favorite of the Scream movies. But again, don't be too mad at me. But it is Scream 5, but it's known as Scream. But that's my second best, in my opinion. I think this mystery is on par with the original, even if the logistics aren't as good. Because you don't really believe the physicality of Ghostface, but I guess that's not really a problem, because that's been a problem literally since the second movie. So, it's not really rules that really apply to the franchise. And again, I think this had the best emotional center. I really like Sam and Tara together. They have a very nice bond, and I'm really happy that Jenna Ortega didn't die in the opening because she does a really good job in this, and both Sam and her are really great in this, and they're by far my favorite protagonists because they have the best character. And again, no other reason. They're my favorite. Lastly, I think the Ghostface reveals are actually really well done. Not just the fact of who they are, but the way in which they're revealed. It's a very good way of kind of subverting what you think is going to happen in the scene. The way they use visual storytelling to foreshadow is pretty cool. Now, the first best one, not even a competition, it's Scream, the first movie. It's basically a perfect script for the most part, and the way the mystery unfolds is pretty good. The way they subvert what your expectations are for the movie is done really well. Great mystery that actually makes sense. Like, you can actually follow it along and kind of create a map on what happens, and it adds up well. And I think it had the best climax. Like, the climax of the movie is probably my favorite in any of the movies, and has my favorite line in any Scream movie.
Peer pressure. I'm far too sensitive.
So now that my reputation as a Scream fan is either worse or better, I'm going to talk about some predictions and thoughts for the next movie. I think one thing that Scream 7 should comment on is how people are desensitized to violence and murder. Like, there's so much people are exposed to the point where it doesn't even faze them anymore, which is something that actually happened in the first Scream movie, where they're kind of talking about the situation during that lunch scene, and they're not really that caring about the fact that someone is dead. And I think that is something that the movie could comment on and present like a different idea of looking at slashers. And we need to build the new characters. I know Sydney and Gale are there, but I think that in order for it to work, we have to kind of let go of them. Not that they need to get killed off, but simply that we need to move on from them. There's not much you can do with Sydney. She's already had 5 movies to do stuff. I don't see what else you can do with her. And Gale, I think she should either die or get some development, because let's face it, she hasn't really changed that much in any of the movies. Which I guess is potentially just a thing they do for the fun of it, but I still think that there should be better character development. Also, the killer should not be the boyfriend. It would be extremely played out, and they've already done before. I think the boyfriend should just be a regular dude, and Tate and him should have a relationship that grows over the course of the movies, which is something we've never really seen happen. I mean, technically Gale and Stewie had that, but I think we need Gale and Dewey. They kind of had that in Screams 3 and 4, but not really. There should be a consistent relationship that plays out. Which, again, there was hints of that in Scream 5 and in Scream 6, but the continuity doesn't matter anymore because it's done. Again, I really wish they'd kept along that continuity story, but whatever. Also, the killer, I don't think should be the best friend. Judging by the trailers, the best friend looks like she's probably going to die, because there's a lot of scenes with her being attacked by Ghostface, so it looks like she's just going to get killed off. I mean, whatever. McKenna Grace I've seen in this movie, which is really cool. It's so weird how I've seen her in Young Sheldon as well as the FNAF movie. It's kind of weird that she's everywhere now. It's also cool to see Veronica from Young Sheldon. It's interesting that we're getting a lot of Young Sheldon actors and things now. But the fact that I don't see McKenna a lot in the trailers, it looks like she's either going to die or be a killer, which I'm actually open to the idea of her being a killer. I have one option. Option 1, she's a killer and then she dies. Option 2, she is a killer and survives, either by just escaping or being put in jail only to escape in the next movie. It would be cool to see her being a reoccurring character. If she doesn't die or become the killer, I hope that she just stays and becomes a reoccurring character. I really hope McKenna doesn't die in this movie. I hope that she does more and either becomes a killer or just becomes a character that continues on. I want to see more of her because she's a really great actress and no other reason. I think Chad should probably die because he's kind of just a character part of the core 4, which isn't really a thing anymore, so him being around doesn't really do much. He doesn't have that much stay. So I guess he could be the new Dewey. I mean, I guess that's fine, but Mindy, at least Mindy should die because she's kind of useless. She makes predictions and says a bunch of stuff like, oh, no one's safe, we're all gonna die, and then literally no one dies in Scream 6, so I could see her totally dying. Now, I have a cool idea for a character in this. Let's say in Scream 7, one of the characters secretly develops a motivation to become the killer. Then in the second one, they end up becoming a killer and then kill someone. But we don't know that until the third movie, where that person is either helping the villain or the main villain. And that way it's revealed at the end. So it's been a secret process to her becoming a villain. Or whoever it is. Like maybe McKenna's character could be that, or maybe just one of the characters. Whatever way, I think that'd be really cool. Because again, we need more fresh ideas in order for Scream to continue. Because again, I don't see how much you can really do with Sydney at this point. So with that being said, that's my ranking, that's my thoughts. Now, bear in mind when I made the ranking, it was actually very difficult because I had to constantly go back and forth, and I changed it like 5 times. It was actually tricky because I don't think really any of the movies are that bad. But again, that's my thoughts. Let me know what you think, and comment what you think the ranking was, or comment your predictions or wants for the next Scream movie. And of course, just have a good day. God bless.